Hello people of the internet, Spaz here. Welcome to another 1.4.4 video, and today I'm continuing my boss guide series on the Zenith Lead with Duke Fishron. So, let's get started. For your arena, you're going to want to make a platform right above the ocean with honey on it, but leave a little room for access to the ocean so you can of course fish up Fishron. Then build about 75 blocks up and then build another platform. This top section is just all the way to the top of the world before you inevitably die at the top of the map. And this section is there just in case you need it, but I highly recommend you do not go up here because the low gravity just makes the fight almost impossible. But in the original lower section, the gravity's not too bad and the fight's relatively normal. One thing I want you to do though is place walls across this entire arena. And in the ocean. Yes, in the ocean. You'll see why when the time comes. Then you just got your basic campfires, heart lanterns, sunflowers for speed boost, and that's all. You have these platforms here, running down, kind of separating the arena into 6 sections, and those are just for grapple points or landing points if you need to reset your wing timer quick in the fight. Okay guys, for the melee setup, I want you to use the Shadow Flame Knife for your primary weapon. The Crippler is just there for the bubbles, or if you just want to use it for any reason. The Rod of Discord, very important for this fight. Greater healing potions, a burger or any other food buff, Iron Skin, regen, swiftness, endurance, wrath, sake, rage, flipper potions, inferno potions, life force, thorns, night owl, shine, and ichor flasks. And for armor, I actually recommend wearing crystal assassin armor until the 3rd phase of the fight. We'll get there. But then I want you to wear Berserker's Glove, Shield of Cthulhu, Moonstone. You can get that right when you start hard mode. Putrid Scent, Harpy Wings or a wing equivalent, Warrior Emblem, and Terra Spark Boots, all reforged to Menacing. So, the first phase of the Fishron fight has 2 attacks. He will shoot bubbles at you and charge at you. To avoid his charges, you would want to just kind of go in a crisscross motion, where when he charges one way, you dash in the other way, and the bubbles are easy enough to kill, you just hit them. The Crippler is great for that. And then the Sharknadoes, you'll spawn them, try to make him spawn them on the edges of your arena, just like kind of stick to the edge of the arena after he does the bubble attack, so we'll spawn them there so they're out of the way. Second phase just has 3 charges instead of 5. He'll spin around and spawn a bunch of bubbles, and then he'll spawn 1 Sharknado that follows you afterward. So you're just going to kind of want to keep going back and forth across your arena, doing the crisscross motion to avoid the charges, and again try to keep the Sharknadoes at the edges of the arena. For the 3rd phase, you are going to want to switch to Frost Armor and slap the Shield of Cthulhu on and haul your ass into the ocean as fast as you can, because the Moonstone will make you turn into a merfolk, and then what this does is eliminates the low gravity entirely, and this will allow you to do the 3rd phase as you normally would. I mean, you just dash back and forth, you parry, you Fishron if you need to survive. And you put the walls under the ocean so no evil jellyfish spawn.
Uzi 9mm.
Alright, so for the ranger setup, you have your Uzi, your Rod of Discord, very important, again, greater healing potions, a burger or any other food buff, Iron Skin, regen, swiftness, endurance, wrath, archery potions are not needed, rage potions, flipper potions, inferno potions, life force potions, thorns potions, shine potions, and night owl potions, and ichor bullets. Again, wear Crystal Assassin armor, and have Frost armor ready to switch out. For the final phase, I want you to wear the Stinger Necklace, Shield of Cthulhu, Moonstone, Putrid Scent, Warding, Harpy Wings or a wing equivalent, Ranger Emblem, and Terra Spark Boots, all reforged and menacing. So for Ranger, again, the first phase is not too bad. He'll dash at you and shoot bubbles, and then he'll spawn tornadoes. So just crisscross when he does his charges, which means you just dash in the opposite direction that he charges in. The bubbles are easy enough to destroy, you just hit them. And the Sharknadoes, try to keep them to the edges of the arena by going to the edge of the arena after he does his bubble attack. For second phase, he'll go to do 3 charges instead of 5, which are much faster and longer, but you can still easily avoid them with the crisscross method. And then he'll spin around and spawn bubbles, which you just kind of hit them to kill again. And then he'll spawn one Sharknado that follows you, so try to get that to spawn at the edge of the arena. And that's all that really is to it. Now for the third phase, you're going to want to switch your armor and switch the Shield of Cthulhu on and teleport right into the underside of the ocean, because this will turn you into a merfolk from Moonstone and make the low gravity almost non-existent, which means you can do the third phase pretty much as normal. Just dash back and forth, parry Fishron if you need to, and that's really all I can tell you for this phase. Next we have Mage, and you're going to want to use the Crystal Serpent and Golden Shower, Rod of Discord, which is very important for the fight, greater mana potions, greater healing potions, a burger or any other food buff, Iron Skin, regen, swiftness, endurance, wrath, magic power, mana regeneration, rage, flipper potions, inferno, life force, thorns, shine, and night owl potions. Again, the armor set I want you to use is Crystal Assassin armor until the final phase. Use the Mana Cloak, Ank Shield, or Obsidian Shield, doesn't really matter, Moonstone, Putrid Scent, Harpy Wing or a wing equivalent, Sorcerer Emblem, and Terra Spark Boots, all reforged to menacing. First phase is relatively simple. He'll have 2 attacks, he'll charge at you and spawn bubbles, and then he'll just spawn Sharknadoes. To avoid the dashes, you just crisscross them, which means you dash in the opposite direction he is dashing in, and then the bubbles, you just hit them to destroy. Make sure to use your Golden Shower as much as you can to keep the Ichor buff on him. And then the Sharknadoes, after he does the bubble attack, he'll start spawning those, so make sure you're kind of at the edge of your arena when he does that to keep them out of the way. For the second phase, Duke Fishron's charges will go from 5 to 3, but they'll be much longer and faster. But the crisscross method will still work here, you just gotta be more careful. He'll spin around and spawn a bunch of bubbles, which are just as easy to kill, and he'll spawn one Sharknado that targets you. So you just want to kind of go to the edge of your arena and try to get that out of the way, and just keep going back and forth for the entirety of the second phase. For the third phase, you're going to want to switch to your Forbidden Armor and slap the Shield of Cthulhu on and teleport right to the underside of the ocean, which is why the walls are there. Then you can fight the third phase completely normally because the Moonstone will turn you into a merfolk and almost eliminate the low gravity entirely. So just dash back and forth, kind of crisscrossing the charges again, and parry Duke Fishron if you need to with the Shield of Cthulhu, and that's all I can really give you guys for this phase. Okay guys, for the last class of this video, Summoner, I want you all to use the Cool Whip, the Sanguine Staff, or Blade Staff. I chose to use the Sanguine Staff, but the Blade Staff is perfectly fine too. Firecracker Whip, Rod of Discord, Greater Healing Potions, a Burger or any other food buff, Iron Skin, Regen, Swiftness, Endurance, Wrath, Summoning, Rage, Flipper, Inferno, Life Force, Thorns, Shine, Night Owl Potions, and Ichor Flasks. For Summoner, once again, you're going to want to use Crystal Assassin Armor until the final phase. Then you want your Berserker's Glove, Ink Shield or Obsidian Shield, Moonstone, Pygmy Necklace, Harpy Wings or any other wing equivalent, Summoner Emblem, and Terra Spark Boots, all reforged to Menacing. So, for the first phase of the fight, you're just going to want to have to dodge his 2 attacks, his charges and his bubbles, and then he'll spawn Sharknadoes, which kind of is an attack, but whatever. To dodge his charges, you just want to dash in the opposite direction of what he does, just kind of crisscross them, and the bubbles you just can easily be destroyed by the whip. And then the Sharknadoes, try to get them to spawn on the edge of your arena, so after he does the bubble attack, he'll dash at you and then start spawning Sharknadoes. So try to be at the edge of your arena when he does that. Get out of the way. For stage 2, his dashes will go down to 3 dashes instead of 5, but they'll become much faster and much longer. But the crisscross method of avoiding them will still work. He'll spin around and spawn a bunch of bubbles, which can easily be destroyed still. And he'll spawn one Sharknado that homes in on you. And then once it hits the ground or whatever, it'll spawn a Sharknado. So you're just going to want to try to get to the edge of your arena when it does this, to again keep it out of the way. And keep going back and forth across your arena and you should be fine. For the third phase, switch to Spider Armor as fast as you can, slap the Shield of Cthulhu on, and teleport right into the ocean, because this will turn you into a merfolk from the Moonstone and almost negate the low gravity, making the third phase pretty much completely normal. So just crisscross his charges as well as you can, parry him with the Shield of Cthulhu if you need to, and that's really all I can tell you for this phase. And there we have it, guys. That was Duke Fishron on the Zenith Seed as all 4 classes. I really hope this video was useful for you guys and will assist you for this fight, because going into this fight with no assistance or know-how was very difficult. And overall, yes, this fight was pretty difficult, but once you learn how to do it and you get the rhythm down, it's not too bad, because Duke Fishron's kind of a very rhythm-based fight. Once you get the pattern down, you can kind of memorize it. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for me today. Subscribe if you found this video useful and want more content from me, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Goodbye.